Hi, I'm Maria Thea Harris-Bellosos, and today we're getting ready for the online sewing weekender with Tessa Chesworth. Grab your notebook so we can help you plan for this fun event on the 12th and 13th of June.
Sew Organised Style podcast acknowledges traditional owners of country throughout Australia. We pay our respects to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures and to the elders past, present and emerging.
Thanks for coming back to this special online sewing weekender preparation podcast. Our last episode featured Kylie from Kylie and the Machine talking about Kylie and the Machine HQ and what she'll show you at this year's online sewing weekender. Last year, Tessa, who lives in Sydney, Australia, attended her first sewing weekender, as thankfully for us, it was online for the very first time. This year, Tessa is here to run through her planning tasks to get ready for this year's event. Let's give a warm welcome to Tessa. Hi, Tessa. How are you?
Hi, Maria. How are you?
Good. Thank you for coming on to the podcast today to talk about your preparing for the online sewing weekender.
No worries. Thank you for having me back.
Anytime. So how can we find you on Instagram?
Instagram, I'm under Teeds Sewed Them. That's an old family nickname, so I use it for everything, really.
Does that mean that you've got more than one account?
I've got a personal one, but this is just my sewing one, so you can see everything I've attempted to make.
Great. And that we can like and give you lots of comments about what you're making.
Yes, please. That'd be lovely.
So when did you start sewing?
On and off, really. I think recently I've really tried to get into it. I've been using podcasts, YouTube, joining lots of classes around Sydney. I joined Australia's Sewing Guild and tried to take part in as many of their challenges as I can. I feel a lot more confident now I'm part of a sewing community, so try to join as much as I can.
That's good. And it's good that you're actually getting something out of it.
Yeah, I think like Australia's Sewing Guild definitely really tried to help during lockdown and things. And the sewing weekender I joined last year in the middle of lockdown, and it was a great activity and a great comfort, to be honest.
How are you preparing for this year's sewing weekender?
So, like I said, I joined last year and loved it. It was action-packed, learned lots of new things, found a few new podcasts to listen to and people to follow on Instagram. This year I've seen they've got a new fabulous varied program over the 2 days. So I'm going to join the masterclasses and space them out with some chats in between. There's so much going on this year that you probably don't have to take your own project. We've received an email with a list of all the materials needed to join in, which I think is a fantastic idea. I do have a backlog of about 100 sewing projects, so I'll be trying to tick them off.
Wow.
But the good thing about the Weekender and how they set it up is that you can save the videos and you can watch the tutorials again and again. So from my to-do list, I'm going to try and make the olive dress by Megan Nielsen. And I bought some fabulous fabric off Facebook. So I plan to make the dress using this.
And the fabric that you bought, what's so special about it?
Oh, it's covered in hats. It's got hats all over it. I'll have to show you when I've made it.
I think it'll be good to see your progress during the sewing weekender. Yeah.
Yes, because I can share.
That's the good part. And we'll talk about that in a minute too.
What are you planning on making on the day?
I'm going through a bit of a bra sewing phase at the moment. So I'm going to continue to try and work through some of the patterns that I've got. How are you getting your sewing room ready to watch the sewing weekender at home?
So I'd recommend a tidying up before the weekend. Create a nice tidy space as you'll be spending 2 days there. You need a space for your laptop and tablet on your desk to watch all the great content, and make sure everything is fully charged. So laptops, headphones, have all your chargers close by, as they will not last the whole weekend.
That's true.
I also recommend mixing up the spaces because it's a long 2 days. So if you watch the tutorials in your sewing room when you're doing your projects, but maybe cast them onto your living room TV and have a brew when you're watching the expert chats or the coffee chat.
Oh, yeah.
Just to give you a bit of a break of day. And maybe if you need to cut up your projects, if that's easier. So because we're in Australia, the day actually doesn't start till 3 p.m. So I plan on cutting up my projects in the morning to kind of get into the space. Then I'm nice and ready to sit at my sewing machine and watch the tutorials as I go along.
It sounds like a really good plan. How are you getting your technology ready now that you've got your sewing space ready?
So I would recommend a YouTube subscription because then you can save your tutorials. So last year's I've got them saved as a playlist so I can still watch them. Zoom account to join all the chats. I saw on the schedule you can join and chat with others or show people what you're up to.
Yeah.
These are both free and easy to set up. I actually have quite limited Zoom knowledge. I'm looking forward to using the different functions to see what they're going to use it for. So that'll be good.
Yeah, it'll be a good way to meet people too through the Zoom rooms.
Yeah, even last year, even though you just watched the videos, I felt very much a part of something thousands of miles away from everyone. So it'll be good. I'm really looking forward to it.
So let's say I'm watching and I need help during the day with my technology. What do you recommend I do?
If you've got someone in your life, i.e. a teenager, that's good with technology, I would recommend you either have them stay around or have them on call. Yeah, you need a young person to help you. But I think it's only the initial setup. I think throughout the day you'll be okay. So keep them on hand in the morning.
That's right, because then they can help you with making sure that you've got access to the videos and that you can actually comment on the videos as well.
Yeah. So make sure you're logged into the account so you can use all the functions available. Also, another tip is I forget to eat and drink. So I take in big flasks and snacks for the day. Very important tip.
Stay hydrated.
Yes.
Okay. I really like the idea of you're suggesting that you have 2 spaces to spend the weekend in so that you're not in one room for 2 days straight.
It's a long 2 days. So breaking it up, you can cast to the big TV so you can have it on the big TV. And if you just want to break from sewing and just grab yourself a brew and a biscuit and watch the expert chats.
This year, they're setting up a private Facebook page where you can get help and also help others prepare their sewing projects for the weekend. So I think that's going to be interesting to get involved in.
Yeah, just a different space. I mean, you can talk to people before the day, and if you've been before, give them advice.
And I think if you meet people beforehand, then when you are in a Zoom room, you can always say hi, kind of like in real time rather than posting.
Yeah, it's amazing how many people you chat to on Instagram who you've never met in the sewing community, and you share things that you've done, and it's so nice for encouragement, and everyone's very lovely. So I would definitely be joining the Facebook group for a bit of moral support.
Yeah, it's really good advice. One last reminder for listeners is that 10% of profits from the event will be donated to charity, and it's going to be split evenly. The charities that they've chosen this year are the Black Curriculum, Find Sell Work, and the Refuge. The links to these charities will be on the blog post. It's also on the Foldline website, and it'll be in the show notes. So if you don't already have your tickets, make sure that you jump onto the Foldline and find the Sewing Weekender and book in.
Yes, and you'll have a fabulous time.
And it'd be good to see you, Tessa, on the day.
Yes, can't wait.
And all of our listeners as well. It'd be great. Thanks again, Tessa, for coming on and giving us a bit of advice on how to get ready for the online sewing weekender for the 12th and 13th of June.
Thank you so much for having me. I hope it helps people.
And have a lovely day, listeners. This episode, to prepare you for the online sewing weekender, was produced by me, Maria Theoharis, and Tessa Chesworth, with permission of Charlotte Emma Patterns and the Fold Line team of Rachel and Kate. Sound by bensound.com. You can subscribe to Sew Organised Style Podcast, spelled with an S, not a Z, on all good podcast apps. Make sure you listen to our previous Sewing Weekender podcast with Charlotte, Rachel and Kate, the organisers of the online Sewing Weekender, as well as the episode with Kylie of Kylie and the Machine. Post any questions or suggestions you have on the Foldline Instagram account at The Foldline, on their website at www.thefoldline.com. We look forward to joining you in your sewing room at the online Sewing Weekender. Stay safe, everyone.